just because he's your blood or what?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know why I could never kill him. Because I remember shoving so many guns in his mouth as a teenager. And my mom pulling me back and just telling me to leave him alone. And I could never do it. And I did so many horrible things to people, but with him I couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger. And I wanted to. Even when I got out of prison, I remember shoving a water hose in his mouth and choking him out with it. And I wanted to kill him, but I still couldn't do it. He's the only person that could ever get under my skin like that. But I could never do it.
Do you think even though you had hatred towards him, there was part of you that loved him or wanted to love him?
I've never been asked that. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. And it's your dad, even though,
Yeah, maybe maybe I didn't want my mom to suffer. Maybe I didn't know what we would do without him. He was the provider. As small as I was, I still understood that. As a kid, I understood that he provided the money, and my mom didn't work, my sisters didn't work, and he was just so violent and so abusive, and he had so much hate in him. And yet he claimed that he believed in God, and we'd have to pray all the time, and it was just this huge hypocrisy that I grew up under. He drank all the time and he smoked, and I wanted to be gone. I never thought about killing myself, but I thought about running away, but just didn't know where to go. I asked my sister one time to take me in, but she just couldn't, because she probably couldn't afford to, or whatever reason. But maybe deep down inside I just wanted him to change, and I was hoping that he would change, but the violence was just so bad. I remember one time going to school, and I was beaten so bad that I couldn't sit back in the chair, and the teachers were so concerned because I didn't want to sit back, and they took my shirt off, and my whole entire back had like 50 plus marks on my back, and there was lesions on it. They were concerned, and I told them what happened, and then they called my parents in and asked what happened, and then on the way home I got my ass beat again for telling. So I learned not to tell ever again. My dad was just very different. He was a very violent man in so many ways, and he was such a little man too. He was much smaller than me, but as a child he was much bigger than me. So from a very early age I learned how to take an ass whooping, and I think he's probably the person that hit me and beat me the most in my life.
Have you ever forgave him or tried to forgive him, or do you have?
No. He died when my sister called me and said, Tata's dying. That was his name. We called him Tata. She said, you may want to come because you're never going to see him again. And I said, I have nothing to say to him. I hope that he has a horrible death, and I have nothing to say to him. And my sister asked me to come again, and I just couldn't do it. So my sister died with my dad in his arms, and he eventually died of stomach cancer. He had colon cancer, and he had a horrible life. It was karma, because he was an alcoholic. He smoked, but when you have colon cancer, you're on a shit bag. You can't really drink and get drunk because you got to change it so often. So, but yeah, I don't forgive him.
Did he ever try to reach out to you personally when he was sick?
Nope. No, he blamed me for my mother's death. He blamed me for. He would just blame me for everything. Blame me for being in the place that he's in life, and he took no responsibility for anything he's ever done in his entire life. So he taught me how to not be a father. He taught me how to not be a man. So he did teach me something. He taught me how to not be like that.
That's good that you could take that from that and not follow in his footsteps. What do you feel like? Do you feel like you ever followed in his footsteps in any way?
Oh, yeah.
Besides the father thing?
He's very disciplined. So he's a alcoholic, but he'd go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 6 and go to work. Structured, very manipulative. He knew how to talk to people. He knew how to convince people to do things. He had the gift of gab. And he did his best to provide for my family and I in a country that didn't accept him. And so as immigrants, we were looked at very, very differently. Came here in '83, went to Alabama, didn't have no job, tried to build a farm, and the farm got ransacked and we had to move. Then we moved to Houston, Texas, and they worked for Condon Airline, and that didn't work out. Then we eventually moved to Sacramento, California for welfare, a little bit of assistance. So he worked under the table and he collected welfare, collected cans, dumpster dive. He had no shame in what it took to provide and to get me. He had no excuses. So he taught me how not to have any excuses, but to have answers from a very early age.
That's cool.
So I guess the same person I despise, I also learned some things from.
It's big of you to say, man.
Yeah, nobody's ever asked me that.
Got anything else you want to talk about?
It's a beautiful night.
It is.